So, how do you feel about me?
Are you okay? You've been acting weird lately.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while since we've had some crazy-ass Japanese gaming going on this show. Things have been relatively tame for a little while, but all that's going to change this week with the release of Catherine, a new game from Atlas Studios, the fine folks who brought us Persona.
You said it's Japanese, right? Is it it's not a sex simulator or something, with tentacle porn and shit like that?
I'm not going to say no to that. But only I don't know. I've tried to describe this game to a few people, and when you say the plot out loud, you sound like a crazy person. But we'll get to that in just a second. So here we are in the loading bar. I'd like to introduce my co-host for today. I've got Nick Hodges.
Good evening.
Mr. Kevin Baird.
Hello.
And Dr. Jason Murphy.
How's it going?
And, of course, I'm Professor Jeff. And so we're going to talk a little bit today about a game that has made me feel more stupid than I felt in a long, long time.
Don't feel stupid because you don't understand a Japanese video game. Feel like a human being. Be grateful that you can't understand what's going on here, because if you understand it, you may be insane.
Well, just to let all of our fine listeners know, Catherine is the tale of a man caught between two women who has to climb a tower as a sheep man every night, or he'll die.
Wait, sheep man?
Yeah.
That makes me so sympathetic to his character. Like, oh, poor him. He's got to choose between two hot girls.
That's one of the things about the plot of this game that is intensely Japanese is that if Vincent, the main character in this game, was just a horrible frat boy, or just a jerk off, or a mustache sporting used car salesman or something, there would have been no problem. He would have been at the bar with his friends like, oh, this is, I've got my longtime girlfriend over here, then I've got this cute piece of ass on the side. But because it's a Japanese game, 90% of his dialogue is, yeah.
Oh, no.
I watched the trailer, and it looked like the Zach Braff video game. Like if he had directed a game. And I only watched the trailer, didn't play it, but that's sure as hell not going to keep me from talking about it. It looks like it's like Garden State, or that other movie that I won't watch that he's in where he's torn between two women. Only take that and put Zach Braff on acid and set him in Japan.
So, Kevin, what did you think? Get a chance to play this game? I think you and I were the only two who played it.
This is a really strange game because you do have this sort of, anime RPG mechanic where you're this guy stuck between these two girls, both named Catherine, one with a C and one with a K, and you're trying to sort of work between them, keep them apart, and you have this meter that sort of determines if you're going towards one or the other more or less. But then it's interspersed constantly with this terrible puzzle game that you're climbing up rows and rows of blocks, and you have to reach the top of this tower, and it's really hard. I just kept replaying over and over and over again, and it becomes unbelievably frustrating. And and all to just sort of keep going through this guy's weird, Japanese fantasy porn that's going on in the game, and I really wasn't having a good time with it.
Well, it's I think it's a testament to just how hard that this game is. That when it was originally released in Japan, I think it was earlier this year, after it came out, they actually released a patch to make the game easier, because Japanese people were unable to finish the game because of how hard it was.
Holy shit, if Japanese people can't play a game, then you got problems.
Then it's serious.
Were they backing away going, I'm sorry, this is just too weird?
You've finally done it, Atlas. You've weirded out the Japanese. But the puzzle element, which is the main course of the game, is it's incredibly difficult. But what's really interesting about it is that throughout the course of the game, you get what they call techniques, where Over the course of the night,
Oh yeah.
you get you get up to these little places, and these sheep people will tell you.
Wait. What?
Is this a Welsh game?
It's you. Looks like you're still alive.
Is that you? You're safe too.
Barely. Still. How many people died trying to come here?
People? I don't...
Listen. Here, you see everybody else as sheep. But all these sheep, they're really human. There's got to be some reason why we were all brought here.
What reason could there be? Why do we have to suffer like this?
Who knows? But I do have an idea.
An idea?
Let's stop the speculation. It's just going to confuse us more. You should think of what to do next. I'm hearing rumors of something big coming soon. You be careful now.
Something big.
Still, you're really getting the hang of things. There's nothing more I can teach you.
That can't be true. Come on, you gotta have something you can tell me.
If we're lucky, we'll meet again.
Hey, wait!
They basically tell you how to move these little blocks around in ways to get. It's hard to describe, like how to get around certain types of puzzles, like how to make an infinite staircase and how to get around when there's a blocking your way this way. And as you play the game, it's actually weird. As the game tells you more and more how to play it, it actually gets quite a bit easier. And by the end of the game, I was just jamming right along like nobody's business.
Yeah, but didn't you have like that boss or I don't know what boss thing, creature, monster, whatever that was.
Which one? The baby, the butt, or like the demon bride?
They're climbing up after you so rapidly that like I can't think like quick enough. I'm like thinking, well, I could move this block and then maybe hop on this one. Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I can't. I can't keep, over time, of course, you can keep trial and error it and get up the thing, but I was just getting killed constantly. Maybe I just think too slow. I'm just like, well, I'm dead. Maybe I'm just not that kind of mentality. I got to think faster or something. So,
well, it's definitely unforgiving in that if you just try to move stuff around at random, you're not getting anywhere. Like that just doesn't do anything for you. But what happens is, as you play the game, you start to get there are these moves that start to become second nature to you. So when you see that there are blocks in this pattern, okay, I've got to pull this one out and this one over to get around that formation. So once that becomes habit, you kind of start to just play the game on autopilot. You're not thinking about how do I get around this. You're just doing it. But even that's being said, there were still places in the game where I spent a good hour doing the exact same puzzle over and over and over again, trying to figure out how to get around one little horrible chunk in the corner that,
I think it's actually kind of like a reverse test to where if you successfully finish the game, then they take away your driver's license and put you on a watch list to be committed to an institution.
Aww.
They're like, no. He understood and figured out these puzzles way too quickly. We need to watch this guy. He's not well.
Damn it.
Puzzles are all well and good, but what's it got to do with shagging two girls? Like, I don't really understand this.
It's framed in this. It's a weird plot.
I want to see if anyone's successfully able to review this game without using the word weird, because so far, I think we've said it like 12 times, and we're like maybe 10 minutes into this.
We need to start varying it up. It was unique. It was a very unique experience, I guess.
Bug fuck crazy.
But basically, the way it's framed is the puzzle game all takes place while you're asleep, and the premise that you start out the game with is that men who cheat on their girlfriends get sent to this puzzle hell. And if they die in their dream, then they die in the real world. And throughout the game, you see, people who are just, they look like zombies. Like, they've withered away and died in their sleep. And everybody's like, nobody knows why. It's fucking crazy. Hundreds of people dead for no reason. Whatever,
Was this game created by women? Like who've been all cheated on or something and just want to get back at men or something?
You know what? It's funny because when you first start out the game, it's an interesting premise, and I think that it speaks very much volumes to maybe just the mindset of your average gamer, in that you have the situation where you've got this long, this committed girlfriend who's pressuring you into like marriage and this long-term settling down, and the main character doesn't really want to do that. And then suddenly this crazy slinky head girl who looks like a total hooker just jumps him, and he wakes up next to her, and she's all, and then the game keeps escalating this relationship conflict from both sides, where, the girlfriend, then, is she pregnant, and then is it yours, and then with the stripper, is she fucking crazy? She says she'll murder you if you ever cheat on her. So you've got this weird kind of like David Fincher directed Three's Company kind of scenario going on. But one of the things that I was really disappointed about in the game was that at the end of the game, it completely ruins that kind of unique storyline, and it gets. I don't really want to ruin it for anybody, but I was really disappointed because it totally takes a right angle and goes in a direction where it's like, kind of a little disappointing. But
are you just confined to these puzzles, or can you play in the real world?
There are sections of the game where you are in the real world. Normally, it's at this bar called the Stray Sheep that the main character and his friends all hang out at after work.
What the hell?
This is in Wales, for fuck's sake. What the hell? It's an obsession with sheep in this game.
And you can drink, and you can text message your girlfriend, and you can play video games, and
that's great. It sounds like my real life without sheep.
One of the gameplay mechanics that I really appreciated was the more drunk you get at the bar, the faster you play, the faster you move inside of the puzzle realms when you're asleep. And I'm just thinking it's got to be that that need to get up in the middle of the night and pee. Where the sheep are just like, oh god.
So the way to win this game is if you get shit-faced at the bar.
Yeah, you got to get shit-faced at the bar and push sheep to their doom off of the giant tower of purgatory violence.
I mean, but did you like the game though, Jeff? I mean, because I really didn't find it to be it was a challenge, but I didn't really walk away from it thinking that it was just great, or I really wanted to go back to it or anything. I just found the whole experience to be relatively frustrating. But what did you think about it?
Well, there was. I mean, I don't want anybody to come into this game without already knowing that they possess an inhuman amount of patience, because the learning curve at the beginning of this game, it starts out relatively simple, and then at about the hour mark into the game, it just starts throwing stuff at you, and you have no idea what to do with it, and it's really frustrating. And then once you get past about 3 or 4 hours, the game starts to get a little bit easier, and then from there it was kind of a cakewalk. So I'd say I enjoyed it. Like I said, I was really disappointed at the way the game ended. But
sheep orgy?
Yeah, it was
awesome.
It was an all dude sheep orgy.
Yes.
And it's just not the way I wanted the story to go.
I mean, no, that's terrible. What? Never mind. Let's move on.
Can you choose between which Catherine you want to be with?
That's a good question. I started playing back through the game, and the first time through, I kind of played it as goody two-shoes. And, I'm not going to really talk about the end of the game, but I went back and had my friend and I were playing it, and played as a complete dickhead. Like, every time your girlfriend is like, what's wrong? You're like, shut up. Get away from me.
Yeah.
I don't like you. And the only thing that really changed was at the moments where the character was going, like his internal monologue changed to be a little bit more dickish, but all of his actions were exactly the same as the first time I played through the game. So I think there's probably some choices in dialogue. I'm not sure whether or not the story of the game dramatically changes depending on which side you go to.
Is it like a kind of RPG? You could choose what to say and stuff to...
Well, that mainly comes through text messages. Like you get these text messages at the bar, and you can reply to them. You can kind of choose what you want to say. And there's a few places where you get conversation options when you're talking with your friends or other sheep in the dreams. And then every time before you start a level, there's these 2 giant ropes that come down that ask you this really deep, meaningful question, like, would you rather have a life of peace or fuck your brains out 24 hours a day? And you're like,
Can't you do both? Can't you text them, say, "Hey ladies, there's enough of me to go around. We should just stop fighting and have a menage a trois."
Yeah, that's what Mass Effect had.
Oh yeah.
It's like, but see, that's what Mass Effect was missing, though. You could own
ask.
80 chicks, but there were no sheep.
All right. Yeah. But you could ask that in Mass Effect. I mean, they were turning down, but it would be quite nice if they changed that around in this game. But that was all you had to do is to make peace with your initial Catherine, girlfriend, and make peace with the crazy bitch. So.
Yeah, I think that I don't know the weird thing about this is that everybody, I think there's been a lot of disappointment from gamers about the fact that this game got made and that the team did not make Persona 5 instead, because that game has the same kind of relationship stuff going on. The Persona games have the same kind of interpersonal relationship stuff, but it's much deeper, and so it felt really just kind of it was like watching a movie. I didn't really feel like my choices had a lot of bearing on where the story went.
It doesn't sound like it.
I don't know, Kevin. What do you think?
No, I don't. I mean, it didn't. It just kind of moves that meter around, but it didn't seem like you were actually in control of the story at all. Really, I mean, you kind of just watching it happen more or less. But a lot of reviews for this game are really high because people thought it was really unique. I mean, I've looked at the Metacritic and everything, and as difficult as I think the game is, because I'm apparently retarded, which is fine. I accept that. It seems like something that a lot of people would probably enjoy checking out at least once.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got merit, and it's definitely unique, and it's nice to see teams doing something new. But I don't think it's quite the game that people were expecting. Once again,
I think Kevin was disappointed. He's like, "Well, would you like to see my collection of Xbox games?" No. How about we go bowling? No. Can I bring my mom? Well, then will you come then?
Dating would be a lot more difficult in life. If, I knew, if I was to, talk to a girl, then I would have to be, stacking blocks all night, cheap in hell or whatever.
The hell with it. It's not worth it.
Exactly, yeah. It's too fucking lazy. Find yourself a girl where that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Next time, if I have some girl approach me in a bar, I'm going to say, "I can't talk to you. The sheep people will come when I sleep." And that will end that shit right there. Or you're in for a really freaky evening.
Baby, I got no problem with that sheep thing.
Yeah.
You and me. And
she just looks at you, licks her lips, and goes, "Bah!"
Oh. So all in all, what do you think, Kevin? What is that, a rental?
I would say a rental for me, and that kind of tells you if you want to buy it. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that long either. You could pretty much go through it in a weekend if you're committed to it, So I mean, maybe you don't want to spend that kind of money on picking it up as a full price title, because it didn't have that much variation to me to think that you'd want to keep replaying it. But I'd start there.
Yeah, I think a high rental would probably be for me as well, just because. The only things to do once you finish the game, or there's a challenge mode, which if you're not sick of yanking blocks around by the time you finish that game, you do need to have your driver's license taken away from you and committed to a mental institution. But there's also a 2-player challenge mode that I tried playing with a friend of mine who, after he'd played the game for about 10 minutes, and he almost threw a controller at me.
You're not friends.
Did he stop being your friend after that?
Well,
I thought we were going to watch some football, man.
But you know what? It's probably a game that people should see, just because there was a lot of creativity into it. It's just not. It's not for everybody, and it's not quite as ubiquitous as the games this team normally puts out. So. But all in all, I think that. But I'll tell you, the entire time I was playing the game, I kept thinking about what I just kept expecting, while you're in this sheep hell, this door to open, and Freddy Krueger steps in to give you nightmares. Oh, I see you've already got this. You got it covered.
What's with the sheep again? Damn it!
You're so kinky.
It's so hard to tell what you're thinking sometimes. I think I'm pregnant.
You must like what you see.
I'm not staring.
Why's this locked?
Because of you that Vincent's so confused right now!
You little whore! Damn it, Vincent!